just trying to plot away into the first team, really. David Leatherdale was coming right at the end, who sort of filled in that sort of number 6, 7, bowled a little bit, good fielder. So I had a real focus for about 12, 18 months on. At the time, it was a little bit bittersweet because, I mean, obviously it was a huge honour and I was really privileged and be asked. If I'm honest, it was probably a little bit too young. Yeah, obviously jubilation. I think, again, going back to Mo's calmness, I think it was almost as if it was inevitable in some ways.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today we have got a very, very special interviewee with us. We have got Worcestershire cricketer and Brockhampton cricketer as well, because I did see you play for Brockhampton once, mate. Mr. Daryl Mitchell, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I had 3 years at Brock, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. But yeah, I'm all good, all good.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, well, the reason I thoroughly remember you is that I was down one day. I was playing for Wormelo seconds, and you, I think you needed about 30 odd to win, and I think you clattered about 4 4s and a couple of 6s in a row to go and win the game. So yeah, that was excellent to watch.
The collector's pieces there. I don't hit too many 6s, so I should remember those really.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, Daryl obviously plays for Worcestershire, has done for a very long time. So where did your love of cricket start, Daryl?
My dad, I think, really. He used to play village cricket at Badsey and then latterly Bretforton, where I started. So so I just used to go with him on a Saturday and always play in the garden. I got the standard baby picks with a little bat in the cot, that kind of thing. So I didn't have a lot of choice in it, I don't think, really.
Absolutely. And then obviously you went through village cricket and you got. How did Worcestershire first notice you?
So I got set up. I played or got selected for Worcestershire Schools Cricket Association. It was called then at the time, under 11, I think. So Badsey First School set me along for trials and got selected. I think it latterly became Worcestershire Young Cricketers, as it still is now, probably when I was about 13, 14, something like that. But to start with, it was the Schools Cricket Association. Yeah, and just got in under 11 and went right through the system, really. Joined the academy at 14, 15. And and then sort of went through the system, second 11, first team.
Yeah, so we had a look that you made your first class career against a university team. So how was that to finally first make it to sort of the pinnacle of county cricket in that respect, in terms of actually playing for your team?
Yeah, I think cricket's a strange one. I think you almost have 2 debuts really. My first class debut was against Loughborough University, which is almost anti-climax is probably the wrong word, but it's not. It's almost treated as almost like a pre-season friendly, I guess, rather than a competitive match. I think you probably think of my debut more of my championship debut down at Bath later that year. I think that was probably what I sort of treasure the memory of more. Probably because we got beat by Loughborough Uni as sort of a half first team, half second team, and then but to win the game down at Bath on my debut, I was LBW Caddick 4 in my first innings. So obviously got out to a bit of an England legend. So that wasn't. If you're going to get out to anyone, it might as well be somebody good, I suppose.
Absolutely. So yeah, how was it playing amongst and against some players who've been at the top level for a long time? I mean, it must be like for someone who's quite young. Did you find that intimidating, or did you find that inspiring?
Inspiring, I think. I think the beauty of Worcestershire in particular, I think you interact with the pros quite a lot from a young age. So as an academy 15, 16-year-old, I was sort of in the nets or hanging around with people like Vikram Solanki, Graham Hick, Gareth Batty, those kind of guys coming through. So you'd had that interaction before you actually got in the squad. So it's relatively sort of smooth thing going through that. I mean, I did come up against a couple of legends. You thought, look around thinking, what am I doing on the same pitch? I played against Ward, Muralitha and people like this. It's like, wow, this is pretty intense. I mean, I blocked out a maiden against Shane Warne, played it lovely straight back, and then got out to Sean Udall the other end the next over, which was a bit disappointing. But I guess, I think you very quickly learn that on these superstars. I mean, they're human beings. They're the same as you and I, really, and to play with them is a real privilege and something great to look back on. But I can't say I was ever really that starstruck. It seems to be a bit of a gradual process, I guess, as you're growing up through the academy, the second team into the first team.
When you first made your steps into one day in 2020 cricket, obviously 2020 cricket came along just as you were starting your career. What was your thinking of your direction? Were you always going to be mostly focused on sort of first class cricket? Was that your focus from the start, or did you think, you know what, I can be a multi-format player?
Yeah, I think my natural game was certainly geared towards red ball cricket in the longer format. I think the way I batted, the way I played, it suited me. I was a natural sort of red ball opener, I guess, sort of in the poor man's Alistair Cook, if you like, that kind of mould, I guess. But I remember sitting down with Damien D'Oliveira, who was second team coach at the time, and just trying to plot a way into the first team, really. David Leatherdale was coming right to the end, who sort of filled in that sort of number 6, 7, bowled a little bit, good fielder. So I had a real focus for about 12, 18 months on making sure I was the best fielder I could be. Worked hard on my bowling, which I'd never really done before up until that point, and tried to get in the team as an all-rounder. Worked on different skills which probably didn't come naturally, in terms of scoring quickly at the end of the innings, batting down the order, those sort of 6, 7, and yeah, I had to work a lot harder on my white ball skills, probably more so than I ever did on my red ball, to find a way to be successful, and ultimately start with getting in the team. And once you're in the team, then you can start. Fortunately, I sort of made my way up the order as time went on, and developed my batting around that sort of solid defensive base. Tried to expand it as much as I can to suit the white ball formats. And obviously, as the game's evolved, particularly with T20. I mean, when T20 started, 140, 150 was a decent score. You fancy the chances. Now, if you don't get 180, you get beat pretty much. So the game's evolved, just like any player has to who's playing through that period, I guess.
You talked about the senior players in Gareth Batty and Vikram Solanki, those kind of guys, who sort of laid the way before you to become captain of Worcestershire. What was it like to first go out and captain the side that you've been sort of brought up through the ranks of? How much of an honour was that?
Yeah, at the time it was a little bit bittersweet, because I mean, obviously it was a huge honour, and I was really privileged and be asked. If I'm honest, it was probably a little bit too young, came a little bit too soon. We had a sort of a mass exodus of senior players in 2009. Vikram, who I probably got the most respect for in cricket, or in life actually generally. Vikram Solanki is someone I looked up to my whole career, and still have a huge amount of respect for. He asked me to be his vice captain for 2010, and then sort of halfway through the year, Vic decided that he'd had enough and stepped down, which was really sad actually. I think we were at Colwyn Bay at the time, and there was a few tears in the change room. It was quite an emotional moment. So it certainly wasn't any joy in taking over it at that point, if that makes sense. But yeah, a week or so down the line, and I led the team out against Surrey at home, I think it was, and yeah, there was an immense amount of pride and satisfaction in initially just taking over for the rest of that season, but then to get named club captain from sort of 2011 onwards was a huge honour, and something that I relished the challenge. It was difficult at times. You certainly take work home with you, and when you're captain, I think it's an all-consuming job particularly for those sort of 6 months in the summer. It's 24/7, and the missus suffered a little bit with my mood swings at times throughout that period. But it's just something I'm hugely proud of, and obviously born and bred in Worcestershire, to captain the county was a huge honour.
So you mentioned Vikram Solanki. What was it in particular about him that made you really respect him?
I think he's very, very well principled, very, very high morals, went about everything the right way, treated people with the absolute respect, and as adults, and that's anyone associated with the club, not just the players, anybody, any of the staff, ground staff, office staff, whatever it might be, treated everyone equally. And and obviously a very good player, very smart man. I think he got a law degree, sort of that he was doing at the Open University while he was playing as well, and just somebody I always looked up to, even as an academy kid growing up. Somebody, fantastic player, one of the best batsmen to watch, and then as my captain for a number of years, somebody I hugely respected and tactically very good. He's somebody that whenever he spoke, everyone listened. Simple as that. And somebody, not just me, the whole dressing room, had a huge amount of respect for.
So you mentioned a player who actually had a big impact on you. What coaches in your career have really had an impact on, firstly, the way you play, and secondly, the way you see the game?
Number one influence definitely would have been Damien D'Oliveira. At the time, he was academy director when I joined the academy. He was also second team coach when I sort of started playing second team cricket, and through that, and then right up until the point he died, he was always sort of my go-to man, really, if I ever had any technical issues or anything I needed to talk to him about in terms of cricket or my batting in particular. Certainly an amazing eye. I felt like he knew my game better than me in some ways. He'd stand at the top of a net, and within 3 or 4 balls, he would just say just a little snippet here, whether it's balance is slightly off, you're not quite getting a solid base, whatever it might be, and all of a sudden your net would be transformed like in an instant almost. So amazing eye for the game. He wasn't one that fed machines for hours on end. He wasn't one that flicked loads of balls at you with the dog stick things, or throw loads of balls at you, but just somebody to talk about the game with. Spent a lot of time in hotel bars on away trips with a glass of Pinot Grigio, which is his favourite tipple, and learned a lot about the game and the history of Worcestershire and the players that he played with, and also players he coached, and talked a lot about my game and how to develop. And going back to that one day thing, it was a big influence on me getting into that one day team and becoming an effective white ball cricketer as well. Yeah,
so Worcestershire have had tremendous success in recent years in the white ball game. What would you put that down to? It's Worcestershire are not one of the clubs with the biggest resources. So what would you put that down to? Is it good coaching? Is it good players? Is it good tactics?
I think a bit of everything. I think the success we've had in what would have been 18 and 19 in 2020 in particular had been building for a few years. We had a few near misses in lots of quarterfinals. We had some really good group campaigns, finished top of the North Group a couple of times. I just think it was a gelling together of lads that have come through the system together. Even myself, although I was older than a lot of them, came through the same system. Worcester's quite a tight-knit club in terms of, obviously it's a relatively small place. Everyone lives within 5 minutes of each other effectively, go for coffees, socialise, go for dinner, those kind of things. So I think the spirit is fantastic, but I think there was a real sort of mindset shift in terms of the way we wanted to play our white ball cricket going back probably 5 or 6 years, and sort of leading on from the way England and Owen Morgan did that. I think that had a big influence. I think a couple of real key signings in sort of particular bowlers in death bowling in particular had a huge impact. I think Pat Brown coming on the scene and doing what he did at death had a massive impact. We've always had good strikers for the cricket ball. We've always had good batters, bowl reasonably well in that sort of middle period with pace off. I think that sort of death bowling with Brownie and Wayne Parnell, that signing actually just propelled us a little bit to the next level and be able to close games out and win tight games with the ball at the end, which we probably were missing for a little period before that. And then I think the only other change in the T20 in particular was Moeen's leadership. I think he's obviously learned a lot from Owen Morgan and the way he goes about his leadership, and again somebody that everyone looks up to. When he speaks, everyone listens. He's not a big shouter and baller, but he's obviously been there and done it, and has a huge amount of respect in that dressing room, and his calmness throughout particularly those finals days and quarterfinals and things like that, just sort of, I guess, goes through the whole side, and he keeps everyone calm and relaxed, and everyone just goes out and plays and enjoys their cricket. And it's just been a great team to be part of the last 4 or 5 years, but in particular the last 2 years with Mo as captain in T20.
Yeah, we had a chat to Kevin Sharp a couple of weeks ago,
But that was a long one.
For retrospective, and he mentioned Moeen Ali and how much of an influence he is. He talked about a certain team talk where, well, not really a team talk, where he just stood there and looked at you guys and then said, every one of you expects to play 2 games tomorrow, or something like that. And how was that to experience?
Yeah, I mean, he is relatively a man of few words, Mo, but what he says is very poignant. And I think, particularly on the young guys, the fact that he's played in World T20 finals, he's won Ashes series, he's been to the heights that a lot of them aspire to go to, it just carries a lot of weight. And he is very calm, very considered, and just says exactly what he thinks, very honest. And that particular team talk was the day before the first finals day they won, and just said, look, we've achieved nothing. It's the first time the club have been to finals day. We've achieved nothing really. It's a travesty. We've not been there before. Make sure you turn up tomorrow expected to play 2 games, and just automatically instilled that belief that it wasn't okay just to get to finals day and make up the numbers. It was actually, we're going there to win it, and he had absolute belief in us as a side that we could go and achieve that, and obviously he was right.
Talk to me about the elation of actually winning that trophy, because obviously you were underdogs throughout the whole thing, especially in the media. So what was the feeling like when the final wicket was taken, the final run was scored?
Yeah, obviously jubilation. I think, again, going back to Mo's calmness, I think it was almost as if it was inevitable in some way. It sounds ridiculous, but it felt like everyone believed that we were just going to win that game, that final, particularly after coming through the semi-final in a relatively tight game. We fought back hard, second innings with the ball, to keep Lancashire below our relatively average total, I suppose. But yeah, I think we expected to win, but that moment when Cox hit the winner, as I was sat next to Mo actually, and smashed him in the face with my elbow, I think, as I sort of jumped up. And yeah, having taken so long to get to finals day, to get over the line and win it with that group of guys was pretty special. I mean, it was an amazing day, finals day. It's something that you'd always look. Even the one we lost the final off the last ball, I still look back thinking, wow, that was a pretty cool experience to be a part of, despite obviously not winning. But yeah, great days. Great to be involved in the atmosphere at Edgbaston, particularly at 9-10 o'clock at night when everyone's been on the booze for 12 hours. It gets rowdy, it's loud, but it's really enjoyable. And yeah, that moment, the elation of winning something, winning a trophy, that's ultimately, I think I've played 18 years, won 2 trophies, really actual wins that they don't come around too often. So they're special moments. Along with we've had a lot of promotions and things which are special as well. But to actually win a trophy and be the best T20 team in the country is a really proud moment. Yeah.
So for you in the future, what does the future hold for you, Daryl? Are you looking to go into coaching or media work? Where does it go for you?
I think sports administration. I think it's probably my ultimate plans was always. I've done my coaching badges, or done 3 of the coaching badges. I'm level 3 coach. I've done quite a lot of coaching throughout my career in the winters with academies and things like that. But the last sort of 3 and a bit years, I've been PCA chairman, Professional Cricket Association chairman, which has led me down the road a little bit more of a bit of a pen pusher. Dealing with sport. I mean, sport's my passion, certainly. Not just cricket. I love my football, horse racing, golf, rugby. Again, watch Worcestershire Warriors quite a bit as well. So any sports, I think I certainly want to stay in sport, but I think an administration role, whether that's commercial department or operations, I think that's sort of the line I want to go in. That, and being PCA chairman has sort of given me a good insight into that. I did 4 months in London last winter. October through to January. Obviously it's not an easy period at the moment with the COVID situation and stuff, but trying to steer the organisation to that, being part of board meetings is tough but very rewarding, and something that sort of stoked a fire inside me to go down that avenue, I think.
So what is your favourite, firstly, moment? I'm sure I can have a guess at that. And secondly, your favourite innings for Worcestershire?
Favourite moment, definitely, I think T20 finals day. I think it's pretty obvious. Winning that game, winning that day. I think that was something I always look back on. We won the Pro 40 in 2007. It was amazing, and to win the trophy was great, but didn't quite have that one-off feel of a finals day. It was obviously a league, so it wasn't quite the same. But to win T20 finals day is, yeah. I watched the highlights again the other day actually during lockdown with a bit of spare time. So it was on Sky Sports, I think. So watched that from start to finish pretty much. Yeah, it brings back great memories. And my favourite innings would be at Trent Bridge, 2017, I think it was. Lowest scoring game. Notts were top. We were second in the second division, and we had to chase 240, something like that. I think on a relatively difficult wicket, and I think I ended up 130, 140 not out. That was probably my best innings I've played. I think I played that very well. I remember being not out 60 or so, not out overnight, with about 100 needed, and something just clicked the next day. I managed to get 80 out of the 100 needed in pretty short space of time to get us over the line, and that went on to us winning the division, which was a huge achievement. Obviously, gain promotion, but to actually win it and pick up the trophy ahead of Notts, who obviously Test match venue, big club, lots of international players, was so that I think that was probably my best innings in a tough situation, and to win the game and win the league off the back of it.
Fantastic, Daryl. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure. Are there any social medias people can go follow you on?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I think at Mitch WCCC, I think on Twitter. I'm not sure what my Instagram handle is, to be honest. I'm sure if you search it, you'll probably find it.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure interviewing Daryl. And yeah, go drop him a follow and all of those stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in the near future. Thank you very much.